Step right up, folks. Hey, good looking. 5 shots for a dime. Try your luck. Try your skill. Any moving target. Only 10 cents. Well, do you shoot or don't you?
No.
Hey, what are you trying to do?
I'm sorry.
If that thing ever went up in your face, you'd be dead.
Dead? Dead? Say, maybe you can help me. I'm looking for someone.
5 shots for a dime, mister. That's all we sell here.
His name's Alfredi. He cast my horoscope. Please tell me what it is.
Look, chum, I don't know you, Mr. Alfredi. People around here come and go too quick. How long ago did you see him?
How long ago? I don't remember. What street is this?
Davis Street, just off Garth. What's the matter? You a stranger here?
Davis Street. Have you ever seen me before?
Oh, no. Step right up, folks. Shoot. 5 shots for a dime. Any moving target, only 10 cents.
John Foster, 2245 Jefferson Place, age 28. Hospitalized for bomb shock and combat fatigue. Released as cured. You're entitled to Army treatment, you know.
Yes, but if I do that, my fiancée... Well, I didn't want her to know about this.
Oh. What seems to be troubling you?
Well, it's nothing very serious, I guess. It's just that I get confused.
Sort of lapses of memory, perhaps?
Yes, I find myself in strange places without knowing how or why I came there. What is that, Doctor? What does it mean?
Well, that's a condition known as fugue. It arises from hysteria, but it isn't particularly serious. Have you had these lapses before?
No. Well, I can't understand why this should happen now.
Uh-huh. You're afraid of something?
I have nothing to be afraid of.
With your history of shock, some memory which your conscious mind has repressed may have assumed an abnormal importance to your subconscious mind. By the way, you spoke of a fiancé. Are you really in love with the girl?
Yes.
Any obstacles to the marriage?
No.
Tell me, have you had any recent illness or emotional upset?
No.
When did these attacks start?
Well, shortly after New Year's. I've had 3 or 4 of them. Each time I find myself in the same part of town. Garth and Davis Streets. It's a place I've never been before. It gives me the shudders to think of wandering around in a trance.
You're not, though. Your subconscious mind knows what you're searching for, even if you don't. You say you've never been there before.
Not that I can remember. What now, Doctor?
I'm going to try and find out what you've forgotten about Garth and Davis Streets. Will you sit in that chair for a moment, please?
All right.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. May I see Dr. Ordway, please? It's very important.
I'm sorry, Dr. Ordway isn't seeing any more patients
Oh, I'm
today.
not a patient. Oh, you are Dr. Ordway, aren't you?
Yes.
May I see you for just a moment, please?
Well, it's after hours. I'm sure Miss White can give you an appointment for tomorrow.
Oh, this is very urgent. Please, it can't wait.
Very well. Now, what is this urgent matter that won't keep until tomorrow?
It was very rude of me to force my way in.
Oh, no, not at all. If I can help you, that's what I'm here for. Won't you sit down?
Oh, thank you. I came to ask you about my fiancé.
Well, I'm afraid you'll have to be a little more explicit.
I know he was here to see you about treating him.
What makes you so sure about that?
This may not sound very nice, but I followed him to this building.
Why, my dear girl, your fiancé could have come to any one of a dozen other doctors who have offices here.
Oh, but you're the only psychiatrist. You see, he suffers from shock.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wish I could help you. But you see, if your fiancé did happen to be a patient of mine, I couldn't violate his confidence.
Oh, can't you understand? I'm engaged to the man. I love him. I've got to know whether he's all right, whether the marriage is... Oh, please help me.
No, there's nothing to be upset about at all. You talk to your young man understandingly, and I'm sure that he'll tell you what you want to know.
Dr. Ordway, please don't tell him I was here. And I'm sorry to have been such a nuisance.
No, you weren't a nuisance at all.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Hey, what are you looking at?
Good evening, gentlemen. You got a light? I'm just 2 drinks behind your pal here.
Where'd you come from?
Spokane, Washington.
I mean now.
I was just in there trying to get a light. You got a match?
Where do you live?
It's just a few blocks away. Good night.
Wait a minute. We'll drive you home. What'd you say the number was?
Robert? I just moved in, but I know the house.
Yeah, well, get in the car.
I couldn't think
Go
of
on,
this.
get in the car.
Sure this is the house? Sure, I'm sure. Don't you see? They left the lights on for me. Thanks for the lift. Good night.
Come on. Never mind. It's open.
Who are you? What do you want?
There's been a murder committed. Where's your telephone?
There.
Is this the house they come out of?
Yes.
Did you get the license number on their car?
No, the plates were covered with mud.
Did you ever see the dead man before?
Oh, yes. He was a patient of mine.
Do you have any patience to stay out of trouble?
I'll ask the questions, Bradley. Don't let anyone leave here, Reynolds. Come with us, Frazier.
Yes, sir.
than doing to come around here waking respectable people up at this hour? Let go of me.
3 men left here less than 30 minutes ago.
Well, so what? This ain't no jail.
One of them was dead. He'd been shot.
You must have let them out because you turned off the porch lights after them.
Porch light? Oh. Yes, I did turn the porch light off. I found I left them burning by mistake, but I didn't see nobody and I didn't hear the door close.
I don't suppose you heard a shot either.
Shot? There'd been no shooting in this house.
Where's your room?
Well, it's down the end of the hall.
Have a look, Bradley.
But it's in a kind of a mess.
That's exactly why we're going to have a look. Frazier, round up the rest of the tenants and bring them in the landlady's room.
Hey, let's look at this room first. The windows face the street here. Well, you must have been expecting us.
Your presence has been fairly well advertised.
Are you, Marcus LeBlanc?
Yes. Have you an appointment?
We're from Homicide.
Oh, I have a license to practice phrenology. Have you a search warrant?
Do you want to be technical?
Oh, no. No, it's only I dream of someday finding a policeman that has one. Oh, come in, gentlemen.
Have you noticed anything unusual tonight?
No.
How long have you been asleep?
Oh, since 10.
2 men drag a body past your door, down the stairway, across the sidewalk, right under your window, and you didn't hear a thing?
No. And I'm a light sleeper.
Maybe your hair was in your ear.
What's this in here?
Oh, excuse me. My bedroom.
Did you ever go by the name of Alfredi?
No.
What are you driving at?
Well, I'll explain that to you later.
You gentlemen have something you want to discuss in private. Please go out in the hall. I want to get back to sleep.
You're not the only one. Come on now, tell us who those men were and we'll let you crawl back in your nest.
But I tell you, I never saw him, honest.
Well, that seems to be his story. He's sticking to it.
Come on, come on.
Oh, no.
We're ready for you, Inspector.
Okay, just add this to your collection.
Might at least let me get my necktie.
See you in a minute, Bradley. How long was this man a patient of yours?
He came to me about a week ago.
What's his name and address?
He called himself John Foster, but I don't believe that was his right name.
Why not?
Well, because he didn't keep his second appointment with me. I tried to get in touch with him, but I found the address he'd given me was non-existent, so, well, the name was probably phony, too.
Maybe the whole story is.
No. Most psychiatric patients are secretive. They're afraid for a mental condition.
What do you think caused his condition?
Well, I found out that several years ago he came to this neighborhood on a slumming party, and he had his horoscope cast by a man named Alfredi, who told him that he'd meet a violent death this year.
Sounds like a lot of malarkey to me. Come on, let's go and see what Bradley has rounded up for us. You were all asleep and didn't hear a sound, huh? Do you expect me to believe that?
Gentlemen, has it ever occurred to you that you might have picked the wrong house?
Yeah. Well, Ordway?
No, not a chance in the world.
Well?
We've been over the joint with a flea comb. No signs of violence, no weapons, not even a water pistol.
You can all go now except Miss Farrell. But just don't take a trip out of town until further notice.
Well, goodbye. You know where to find me if you want me.
Good night, Curly. So, you run the shooting gallery, huh?
Yeah.
Are all your guns registered?
Are you kidding? Who registers their guns?
Well, from all the places I know, they're 22s with live ammunition.
Not mine. Air guns are cheaper, and the customers get more for their money.
Any further questions, Doctor?
I don't think so, no. Thank you, Miss Farrell.
Well, you can run along now, little girl. Oh, Bradley, check her place in the morning, will you?
Right.
Pleasant dreams, ma'am, and thanks for the use of the hall. Well, Dr. Ordway, do you suppose you could have been mistaken in the house?
Not unless I've been tight.
Well, maybe you were.
Say, look here.
All right. Anything to report?
No, sir.
What's down that passageway there?
A bunch of garbage cans and a 7-foot wall.
Make a thorough check of the neighborhood in the morning, will you?
Right.
I'm going home and get a little sleep. Can we give you a lift, Doctor?
Yes, I'll go along, thanks.
find any trace of that one.
Good. There's the balance I owe you.
Hey, you'll have to do better than this.
Not another cent. I've already paid you 3 times your original price.
Let's not talk about the original deal. The bargain you made with Alfredi didn't include any part in our murder, but this is just peanuts.
That's too bad. It's all the money I have.
Yeah, well, you'll have to double the ante and like it. We found out your family's rolling in dough.
They wouldn't give me a nickel.
They might, if they knew it was to save you from the hot seat.
Tell anyone about me, you'll only involve yourself.
Yeah, well, there's ways of doing those things. And don't forget, we just gave you a hand with the cleanup. We didn't kill anybody.
Neither did I. I'm protecting someone, remember?
Get the money from him, huh?
We don't care who pays it.
We come back for it tomorrow night.
No luck. Nothing in the picture files that looks anything like those two. Apparently, they have no record in this town.
Probably just a couple of drifters trying to pick up some loose change on their way through.
According to you, murder is only a minor offense.
Now, let's not go over that again. Here, have a look at this.
Yes, sir.
Send Bradley in, will you?
Dr. Robert Ordway was gained wide fame as a crime doctor because of his spectacular work in assisting the police on many homicide cases. Last night was involved in one of the most fantastic wild goose chases in local history. Up to this time, there's been no signs of a body, murdered or otherwise. Can this be an elaborate rib on the police department? Or is the eminent crime doctor in need of a good psychiatrist? I'd like to get my hands on the smart boy that wrote that.
Now, don't let it get you down. The police department has to take these things all the time.
Well, I'm not the police department. I don't think it's funny.
Oh?
Good afternoon, Dr. Ordway. Sent for me, Inspector?
Yeah. Tell the doctor what you found out, Bradley.
Oh, we checked the whole neighborhood right down to the cop on the beat. Found nothing. We even climbed over the wall at the end of that alley. There's only an old house there that's been boarded up for years. Not a sign of life.
Believe me, Ordway, this is no case for homicide. In the dark, you could have easily mistaken a cut or a bruise for a bullet wound. Your young friend was just tapped with a blackjack and rolled. I bet when he sleeps off his headache, he'll come in and make his uncle play.
All right, have it your way, Manning. I believe there's another answer to this, and I'm going to find it.
That's your pleasure, sir. And when you find it, let me know.
Sorry, boys, I'll have to work.
Come on, we need to knock off for a beer.
2 beers. 5 shots for a dime, sir. Well, that's all we sell here. Shoot, step right up, folks. Try your skill, only...
I'll try.
Joe.
Thank you. No, I changed my mind. I'd rather use a pistol.
Well, it's a wicked little contraption, isn't it? You know, it's amazing how they sell these to children for toys. But at close range, they could be as deadly as 45s.
How about a match for $5?
Go on, show me what I have to beat.
Oh, no, go ahead. You shoot first.
It's marvelous. Hell, don't you worry. I'm not even going to try. Here you are.
You lose $5 awful easy, mister. Good night.
Wait a minute. Just a minute, Miss Farrell.
Can't you leave me alone? I've had enough of the police.
I'm not a policeman. That's why you need to be afraid to talk to me.
There's nothing to talk about, mister. You're wasting your time.
Wait a minute. You're going to waste a lot of your time in jail, Ruby, unless you're willing to cooperate with me.
Take over for me, Joe.
How do you like that? With him, she'll have a beer.
So I'll row you around the lake.
So how do you figure the law can pin anything onto me?
By simply following a straight line of reasoning. A man was killed in the house where you live. No one heard a shot. You run a shooting gallery on Davis Street. You own air guns, which don't make any noise. The man kept coming to Davis Street, and he was killed in the house where you live.
Sort of ring around the rosy, huh? With me in the middle. Look, Dr. Ordway, I read the newspapers. Nobody but you thinks a man was killed.
That article was published deliberately in order to make the killer believe he's safe. Thank you. By the way, how do you keep track of your air guns? How would you know if one was missing?
I count them every night.
Mm-hmm. How many have you?
More than enough for the trade I've got.
And you haven't missed any lately?
Once in a while, some kid'll lift one.
Mm-hmm. Do you report the theft every time?
Why should I? Who cares about a pop gun?
Wait a minute. I'm afraid the police wouldn't accept that excuse.
I don't care whether they do or not. If they were really smart, they'd concentrate in that vacant house on Dexter Street and forget about me.
That's all right. They've already been there this morning.
And they didn't find anything?
No. It's boarded up tight and quite vacant.
Well, it wasn't vacant last night. I can see it from my room. There was a light coming through the shutter, like somebody walking around with a candle.
Why didn't you tell us this before?
Isn't any of my business.
Oh, you mean you didn't want to get mixed up in this mess, huh?
Right. Only thanks to you, I'm mixed up in it for good.
Yes, well, come on, let's take a little ride, and we'll have another look at that house. The mission stays open all night. If the murder was committed in this house, they had to take the body out the back way.
Over the wall and down the alley past the rooming house.
That's right. Have you ever noticed lights in here before?
No. You're not going in there alone, are you?
Why not? If someone only borrowed this to commit a murder, they're not likely to be hanging around.
Oh, but hadn't you better phone the police? Got a search warrant or something?
No, I won't be charged with illegal entry. You wait here.
the same fellow we bumped into last night?
Yeah.
Oh, what are we going to do with it?
It's a cinch we're not going to take him with us. Come on, get your hat. Let's move.
Hello, Ordway. How do you feel?
Terrible, thank you. Oh, don't worry, boys. I'm not going to say I told you so.
Okay, so we found the body. But you should talk after the stunt you pulled last night. Letting that gal lead you into a trap. Why, you're lucky you didn't wind up in the same place your friend did.
Yes, I guess you got something there. I guess the boys didn't feel like lugging another body to the crematory.
Well, they had a brilliant idea, though. Why, there wouldn't have been a trace left of that guy after the next cremation. It's a good thing the retort was out of order and had to be repaired. We found this on the body.
Philip Armstrong, alias John Foster.
Yeah, we're checking with the Army. And we sent out a general alarm for the two strong-arm boys. Bradley, tell them what the coroner found.
Well, you were right about that fellow having been shot.
But he wasn't shot with an ordinary gun. The killer used an air pistol.
Yeah, there's a small hole in the right temple. The slug was still inside. Came from a pop gun, all right.
We picked up the shooting gallery dame, and we're holding her on suspicion of murder.
Hello? No, this is Bradley. Okay.
We went up to the Dexter Street house and found them living there. They must be from out of town and had no place else to go. Is that the city clerk giving you the dope on the house?
Okay, thanks. Yeah. The owner's name is Gerald Cotter. He lives at 1900 Fenway Road.
Well, we'll go around and see Mr. Cotter and ask him some questions. I don't suppose you feel well enough to come along, Ordway.
Well, you try and stop me.
We'll be delighted to have you.
Yes?
I'm Inspector Manning. We'd like to see Mr. Cotter.
Won't you please come in? Kindly step this way. I'll tell Mr. Cotter you're here.
Yeah. Wow. Nice, cozy little place, huh?
Yeah, certainly is. Oh, say, look here, Manny. Let's not make it a point that I was... Well, you know, it wasn't exactly legal breaking into that man's house that way.
If he wants to charge you with housebreaking, I can't stop him. But don't worry, I'll get you a nice, comfortable cell.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
All right.
You wish to see me?
Are you Gerald Cotter?
Yes.
I'm Inspector Manning. This is Dr. Ordway.
Why did you wish to see me?
It's about that house of yours on Dexter Street.
What about it?
Who are the two men living there? Did you hire them as caretakers?
You must be talking about another house. My place hasn't been lived in for years.
Oh, it's yours, all right. And we have reason to believe that a man was killed there a couple of nights ago.
But that's preposterous. My house has been locked and boarded up, and I have all the keys.
Well, just the same, we can prove that the two men were there last night.
And we've been able to identify the body as that of Philip Armstrong.
Philip Armstrong? Irene.
He's dead. I heard you say it. Philip's dead.
I'm afraid so, Miss Cotter.
Martha.
Isn't there anyone closer to her than a servant?
Irene and I are the only ones left of the family.
I don't like to trouble you at a time like this, Mr. Cotter, but just how much did you know about Philip Armstrong?
He was a very fine boy. He had planned a career as an architect before the war. Oddly enough, he and I had discussed remodeling the old house only the day before he was killed.
Did you give him the keys to the place?
No. I think I told you I had them all in my possession.
Well, maybe Armstrong passed by there that night, noticed lights inside, and went in to investigate.
That seems the only explanation. He certainly was not involved with men like that.
The house is partly furnished, Mr. Cotter. The bedroom upstairs seems to be more or less intact. May I ask why?
My wife died there. I've kept the room as it was. I suppose you think that's very sentimental and foolish.
No. No, I'm a doctor, Mr. Cotter, so I understand perfectly.
Well, I guess that's all for now.
Well, goodbye, sir. I'm sorry that we had to be the bearers of such tragic news, but if I can be of any help, please call me.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Mr. Cotter.
No one allowed on these grounds. This is private property.
That's okay, Pop. We just came to see Miss Natalie Cotter.
Well, why don't you go up to the front door and ask for her?
Well, this is kind of a private visit. Think you can fix it for us?
Nope.
Why not? I asked you why not.
Because Miss Natalie ain't here. She ain't been here for 3 years. Now, you better clear out of here.
Maybe the old guy's telling the truth.
Yeah, maybe.
Here, dear, drink this. It will help you sleep.
No, I don't want to sleep.
Please.
Well, Martha's dead.
I know.
What am I going to do?
God never gives us burdens greater than we can bear.
Martha, you don't know.
Irene, baby.
If Natalie were here, she'd help me. Natalie always helped me.
Why don't you try to take a little nap?
No, I can't.
Would you like me to call your father?
No. Though he forced Natalie out of the house, he didn't care about my feelings then. You know, Martha, a long time ago when I first met Phil, Natalie warned me against falling in love with him. She said he'd bring me nothing but sorrow.
Irene.
I'm going out.
Irene, where are you going?
Out anywhere away from here.
You never have forgiven me, have you?
Why did you send her away? I need her so badly now.
Let's not go into all that again.
That's right. You'll never really understand what you've done to me.
Oh, Miss Irene. I heard what happened. I'm awfully sorry.
Thank you.
Do you think I could see Mr. Cotter now?
Why, Tom?
There were 2 strange men here asking for Miss Natalie.
Natalie? Who were they? What did they look like?
Oh, they were no good. They even tried to get rough with me, but I drove them away.
Oh, Tom, why didn't you call me? Natalie must be back in town and she may be in trouble.
Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Irene, but I only did what I thought was right.
Oh, of course you couldn't know. Tom, don't say anything about this to my father. He hasn't been well and it might make him worse. You understand. And if those 2 men come back, make them stay until I can talk to them. Promise me.
All right, Miss Irene. I promise.
It's about time you showed up. Remember, we had a date for last night.
Come in.
We thought maybe you ran out on us.
Really? I thought you'd be doing the running.
Have you got the money?
Nope.
Did you go see your old man?
Sure.
She's lying.
We were there.
You shouldn't try to fool us.
What did you expect to gain by snooping around my father's place?
You read the papers, don't you? After last night, this town is too hot to stall any longer.
If it hadn't have been for your stupidity, the police never would have known there'd been a murder.
Save it, save it. I know what you're trying to do. But look, sister, if we have to blow town without that dough, okay. But from somewhere along the road, there'll be a phone call to the cops that'll put you right in their laps.
You'd do that, wouldn't you? All right. No use getting upset about it. I'll get you the money somehow.
Well, that sounds more like it.
We're all in this together. There's no use making it worse by quarreling among ourselves. I'll fix you a drink.
Hello?
Hello.
Hope I haven't kept you waiting. My last appointment took me longer than I expected.
So nice of you to do this for me.
Oh. Say, incidentally, they serve a marvelous crab louis here. Does that sound all right to you?
I'd love it.
2 crab louis, please.
Yes, sir.
And bring some hors d'oeuvres first.
Hors d'oeuvre and crab louis.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I thought you'd feel more comfortable here and more at ease than at police headquarters. Besides, there are a few questions about Philip Armstrong you might be able to answer. Cigarette?
No, thank you. Is there any news? Any trace of those 2 men?
No, not yet.
And this girl, Ruby Farrell. The papers say the police are holding her as a suspect. I can't believe that she killed Philip. She'd have no reason to. Unless she were involved with him in some way? No. I don't think she even knew him. But if he was killed with her gun, she must know something about it. Yes, I think she does. I'm afraid you're being too clever for me. I guess I didn't make myself very clear. No, I believe that subconsciously, Ruby knows the most likely person to have stolen her gun. How can that be? Well, we see hundreds of persons each day who hold no particular interest for us, but the images register in the brain, and they are filed away below the level of consciousness. We call them latent memories. Can these latent memories be brought out? Oh, yes, quite often. I'm going to see Ruby again today. I may have some news for you later. Thank you. You seem to have stood the shock remarkably well. I don't know that I have. It's more that I feel completely numb. I haven't even cried. Well, that'll come later. Don't try to hold it back. Natalie used to say that crying was a sign of weakness. She said I did too much of it. Natalie? My sister. Oh, I didn't know you had a sister. Oh, yes. She practically brought me up. I guess I depended on her much too much. She was so strong and capable, and I needed someone to lean on. Where's your sister now? I wish I knew. She left home 3 years ago, and we haven't heard from her since. I see. Well, I seem to be asking all the questions. What was it you wanted to know, Dr. Ordway? Well, the main stumbling block seems to be that we can't find any motive for Philip Armstrong's death. And the inspector's theory is just too pat to be convincing. Tell me, how long had you known Philip? Since before the war. Oh.
Call for you, Dr. Ordway.
Oh, thank you. Hello? Oh, yes, Inspector. Oh. What's the address again? All right. We'll be over right away. Right away. I'm sorry, Miss Carter. I'll have to leave now. Inspector Manning thinks they've found those 2 men. Oh, I hope they're right. You'll know them when you see them. Yes, I will, of course. I'll phone you at the house a little later. And I'll take care of the check on the way out. Bye.
No smoking, Dr. Ordway. Still danger of an explosion.
Oh, thank you.
Hello, Ordway.
Hello, Inspector.
Come on in, have a look.
Yes, you're right. Those are the men.
The medical examiner said they died from asphyxiation, but the janitor told us when he came in around noontime that the gas valves on the living room heater were wide open.
Well, maybe the boys got so drunk they forgot to light the gas after they turned it on.
That's what we thought at first, but there seems to be one thing that just doesn't jibe.
What's that?
These guys didn't live here. The janitor never saw them before. He rented the apartment to a woman who minded her own business.
These are smartly tailored, but there are no store labels on them.
Yeah, no laundry marks on these things, including the gloves. Well, Bradley.
Yes, sir?
Gather this stuff up and bring it down to headquarters, will you?
Yes, sir.
Nobody in the building knew the woman. Nobody knows where she works, if she does work.
How long has she lived here?
About 3 months.
Any description of her?
Well, she's about 25 or 26 years old, has blonde hair, wears dark glasses, and calls herself Jane Roberts.
Which may be an assumed name. Now the question is, was she working with them, or did they give her the same treatment they gave Armstrong?
Well, my guess is that they were working together. Chances are they quarreled, and she put him to sleep for good. Oh, before I forget, here's a book we found in one of their pockets. Just look under the letter H there between Harriet and Helen.
Alfredi.
Yeah, I remembered that routine you gave me about Armstrong and his fortune teller, and I thought it might interest you.
Well, you can say that again.
I'm going to have him picked up. Why don't you come down to headquarters with me now?
All right.
I repeat that I've never seen these men you speak of. I know absolutely nothing about them.
How do you account for your name in this book?
Perhaps the man wanted to have his horoscope cast, and he was referred to me by one of my clients.
What about Philip Armstrong?
Must you always ask the same questions over and over again? I don't deny this man Armstrong may have come to see me at one time. Many people come to see me.
Do you make a habit of predicting death for them?
Only when the stars show it.
Oh, let's stop kidding ourselves. A fortune teller never predicts anyone's death, stars or no stars. That's not the way you make a living. You want to keep your customers. Who paid you to throw a scare into Armstrong?
Or had you already made up your mind to kill him later?
I refuse to be treated this way. You've dragged me down here without reason. To subject me to this humiliation, as though I were a common criminal.
Bradley, hold this man till we complete a check on him. If you're right about Hempstead framing Armstrong, then the motive for his murder dates back a long time.
Look, while you're checking on Alfredi, I'm going to have a talk with Ruby Farrell. I'll be back shortly.
All right.
Now think carefully before you answer, because your freedom may depend on it.
A blonde in her middle 20s, very well dressed, and wearing dark glasses. That's all you can tell me.
Yes, that's all. Now, she very likely cased your place for a few days. She probably used your guns just like any other customer, and she may have come alone or with someone.
Oh no.
That's all right. Take your time. Now think.
Wait a minute. I think I do remember now. Sure. The girl in the tailored tweed suit. It must have set her back all of $100. I remember thinking I'd give an eye tooth for one like it.
Did she wear glasses?
She sure did.
Did she always come alone?
Yes.
Turnkey.
Dr. Ordway, will you tell him to let me out now?
I'll do all I can for you, Ruby. Believe me. Anything in the files on Hempstead?
Not yet. How'd you come out with Ruby Farrell?
Well, I gave her a description of the woman we're looking for. Ruby said she came to her place several times.
Well, that's something, but it doesn't give us much to work on.
No, I know. I've got a hunch that Alfredi knows more about this than he's willing to admit. Let's see if we can't bluff it out of him.
All right.
Yes, sir?
Bring Hempstead in again.
Right.
Sit down. It's all yours.
Mr. Hempstead, we find that we have no charge against you at this time.
I'm glad to understand that.
Yes, but we feel that you've not taken us into your confidence.
But I've nothing to tell you.
When we mentioned the fact before that 2 men were found dead from asphyxiation, we omitted one little detail. Namely, they've been murdered. Oh, now, we don't mean to insinuate that you had any direct connection with their deaths or the death of Philip Armstrong. No, we know that all three were killed by a woman. The last two victims, for a very old but very good reason, they knew too much.
What you must consider now is this. If this woman believes that you have any information at all concerning her, is she going to let you remain alive?
Now, you can take your own chances, of course, but remember this. She's already silenced two witnesses.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know anything if she killed my friends and she lied to me. She got me into this mess over Armstrong.
Then you admit your connection with his murder?
Certainly not. I only sent the boys to throw a scare into him.
Oh, just rough him up a little bit, huh?
That's what she told me she wanted him for.
And you believed her?
Sure, she had a good reason.
Yeah, the same one she had before, I suppose, when she paid you to cast that phony horoscope.
Yes. She said Armstrong was just a chiseler. And all he wanted was her sister's money.
Sister?
Yeah, wait a minute. Now I can tell you her name. It's Natalie Carter.
That's right. But I swear I didn't know anything about it, that she would kill him. I hadn't even seen her for years. And she called me about...
Save the details for the jury. We're holding you as a material witness. Lock him up, Bradley. And send out a general alarm on this Natalie Carter. We'll be at the Carter place if you want us. Come on, Doctor.
I can't believe what you say. I won't believe it. Natalie could never do such a thing. You must be mistaken. There must be some other explanation.
Mr. Carter, I understand there has been some trouble between you and your daughter.
Irene, will you go upstairs, please?
No, you've always hated Natalie. I'm going to stay and see that you tell the truth about her.
Please do as your father says.
From childhood, Natalie exercised an extremely jealous and possessive control over her sister. Poor Irene was so devoted to her that she never even attempted to assert herself. Finally, when Natalie attempted to break off Irene's engagement to Philip, there was a quarrel.
And Natalie left home then?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Shortly after that, she wrote Irene a letter from New Orleans, but gave no address.
And you haven't heard from her since?
No.
Then you had no idea that she was back in town?
None. But I can promise you one thing. Even though she is my daughter, I will make no attempt to shield her.
Thank you, Mr. Carter.
Goodbye, Mr. Carter.
I don't think I'll go back just yet. I want to prowl around here for a while.
What's the matter? Don't you trust the police department?
Yeah, but it's my own time I'm wasting. I'll take a cab. I'll see you later.
All right, Doctor.
This is an outrage. A positive outrage.
I can hear you.
A
You don't
stab
have
at my
to
honor,
shout
you hear
at
me?
me.
A stab at my honor.
Wait a
I
minute.
demand just do not argue with me. You are nothing. You will
Listen,
always
don't-
be
you don't have
just
to-
nothing to me. Nothing.
Oh, for Pete's sake, will you calm yourself?
I will not calm down, and you will never make me calm down.
I'm glad
Never.
you came in. Here's a new twist for you. Meet Mr. Herrera from Haiti. This is Dr. Orr.
I do not care who he is. I will tell him too. I will tell everybody. I will sue you. I will sue your police department, your radio, your newspapers.
What's this all about?
This afternoon, as I sit in my hotel room, I hear from your radio that you are accusing my wife of murder.
Your wife?
You are searching for her. You want to hang her. And all the while, my poor Natalie lies dead in her grave.
Wait a minute. Let's get this thing straight. You're the husband of Natalie Carter.
Si, senor. For 2.5 years, I am her husband.
And you say she's dead?
6 weeks ago, I buried her. I just arrived in town today to inquire about her estate.
Have you been in touch with her father?
No.
Why not?
Because first I want to see a lawyer. And now I will see many lawyers, many lawyers. Is my poor wife to be accused of murder while she's up there among the angels? Am I to receive this insult?
Listen. From what we know, Natalie Carter isn't sitting around with any angels. And she'd just love to have us think she's dead, because then we'd stop looking for her.
Are you calling me a liar?
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. The inspector may seem a little blunt, but he has to make sure you're telling the truth.
I will make you pay for this. I will make you pay and pay and
Bradley!
pay.
Bradley! Take this man out of here and hold him till we check on his story.
Right.
I will sue
Come
you.
along.
I will sue you. I will sue you.
All right, sue me. Hey, if that guy's right, do you realize what he could do to me? Oh, but he's got to be lying. Don't you think? Why, too many people have seen the woman.
Now, look, relax, Manning, will you? I have a hunch that you'll be able to take Natalie Carter into custody by tonight. Now, I'll phone you later.
Ordway. Oh, so sue me.
This is what I call fast service. Seems though I just hung up the phone after talking with you.
Well, I'm sorry I behaved so badly this afternoon.
Oh, please don't apologize. I understand.
Thank you. Dr. Ordway, I still can't figure out what you expect to find here after the police made such a thorough search of the place.
I'd like to have just one more look at your mother's room.
I thought the police were going to keep watch on the house.
No, they've written this place off their books. I wonder why your father never put this place up for sale.
For sentimental reasons at first, and later on because the property lost its value. I know he'd sell now. If only Philip had lived.
They had some plans for remodeling the place, I believe.
Have you found something?
Yes, I've got to call Inspector Manning right away. I wonder if you'd do me a favor.
Of course.
Would you go next door and telephone for me? I want to stay with this. There may be more evidence.
All right. You may as well come out of hiding, Dr. Ordway. I saw you walk in here with Irene.
I see you're quite handy with all types of guns.
That's right. This happens to be a .32. I knew I couldn't come as close to you as I came to Philip. Turn around, walk towards the door.
Aren't you forgetting about Irene?
If she comes back, you won't be here.
Light those candles, Bradley.
That was perfect timing, Manning.
The signal came through the shutters okay. We saw the light go out. Your husband will be glad to know that he was mistaken about your death.
He wasn't mistaken.
What do you mean? Irene Cotter.
Yes, and posing as her sister Natalie. She committed the 3 murders.
So your masquerade was just a trick to keep suspicion away from yourself, huh?
No, Manning, no. The murder didn't cause the masquerade. It was the other way around.
Well, it's way over my head.
Well, I'll try to explain it briefly. Miss Cotter is a typical example of a rather unusual psychosis. As Irene, she was timid and repressed. That's why her sister was able to dominate her so completely. After Natalie left, you were totally lost, weren't you? And the only way you could adjust yourself was by literally assuming her identity. The pretense eventually became an actuality. She underwent a complete psychological split. And during such times as she was impersonating Natalie, her thoughts and her actions became those of her sister. And Armstrong somehow discovered this complex, didn't he?
I was afraid he'd tell my father. He made me promise to come to you for help.
Well, why didn't you come?
I was afraid you'd put me away. I knew Philip would keep insisting. It was the only way I could save myself.
So you stole the gun from Ruby because it couldn't be traced. Then you made a date with Philip to meet you here. And you turned the tables on him the way you did with me.
All right, Bradley, take Miss Cotter down to the car. Pick up that coat she dropped by the front door. She was wearing it over the clothes she has on now.
This is what turned the trick. She actually believed that she left her glove here. Yeah, this has been a strange case, Manning. Armstrong with fugue and the Cotter girl with a split personality.
Split personality? Well, say, Doctor, I'd like to have you see my wife.
Split personality?
No personality.